From the land of lakes, this is 10,000 Takes. Brought to you by Minnesota Score Radio. Wally and Eric back for yet another week as we slice and dice the always busy, always topical, super saturated Minnesota sports scene. And Wally, we have hit the All-Star break, baseball's unofficial halfway point, and the Minnesota Twins, I guess it's safe to say, are limping into the break before they resume play this weekend out at the Oakland Coliseum, which is going to be mostly empty.
How do you know that? How about looking at the records for the last couple of years? They get about, 3,000 people a game?
There might be a few Twins fans who are saying, let's go see a game at the Coliseum because the A's might not be there next season.
Well, they probably won't be
And
there.
it's the Bay Area. There's things to do.
I guess. I don't know.
A lot of bridges to drive across.
Oh, boy. Well, if you're the manager of the A's, you might want to jump off that bridge.
Well, the Oakland A's are it's an unfortunate situation.
It really is.
They've been run into the ground by their owner, John Fisher, who's just become, public enemy number one out there in Oakland. I think he's far ahead of Mark Davis, who moved the Raiders to Las Vegas, and Fisher wants to follow. And Davis doesn't even want him in Vegas.
Probably not. He wants to fly solo over there, or with the Golden Knights at
Aces.
worst. And the Aces, that's right, the Las Vegas Aces of the WNBA. Your favorite squad.
That's a good nickname.
You like
That's better than the Knights, in my opinion. That says Vegas. Aces.
Okay.
Right? Deck of cards.
So as the Twins come out of the All-Star break, what's your number one concern? I'd say number one concern, obviously, is they've got to start hitting the ball on a consistent basis. But I want Joey Gallo to be on waivers. Let's bring Matt Wallner up.
Taking food off of his table.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's still going to get paid. But I just don't understand why we're so enamored with Joey Gallo. I know he hit some home runs, but he strikes out so much. He's a good defensive player. I'll give him that. But the strikeouts aren't worth the home runs, aren't worth what plays he does make in the outfield. Let's bring Matt Wallner up. Trevor Larnach is down. Wallner deserves another shot. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of getting weary of this whole thing. Time for Joey to go. Bring the young guys up. Play the young guys. Who are we kidding?
Something about Joey. Okay, well, I'm going to go back to a topic that has been discussed by a lot of people quite often here in the upper Midwest.
Okay.
I want to put Byron Buxton in center.
Oh, boy, I can't do that.
That is topic number one for me because I've seen him run the bases enough. I know the Twins are saying, Rocco specifically, his knee won't allow him to play.
How about during headfirst slides?
Yeah, I just think you got to give it a shot. I think you're cheating your fan base. I think deep down Byron would probably love to be out there. I was at a game the other night at trendy Target Field, and Cedric Mullins of Baltimore leaped up and snatched a 3-run home run away from Byron Buxton.
Right.
It was an electric play in center field, Spider-Man-like, and that's what Buxton used to do. And that gets fans excited. As a DH now when he's hot, he's fun, but a lot of times he's not hot. He's cold. He's striking out. He's one-dimensional. And this is a 5-tool guy.
Right.
I just can't fathom the fact he hasn't touched the outfield grass yet this season.
So what you're suggesting is you would rather risk the injury, and we've seen the injuries over the years, and he's missed, large amounts of time. You would rather roll the dice on that. And I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's basically what you're saying.
That's exactly my stance.
Yeah.
And Michael A. Taylor, you can move him around in the outfield. I love what he's brought to this team, by the way. He's very good. It's not like there's a huge drop-off, but I just think Buxton may give you better offensive numbers if he also has the chance to go in the field and not dwell on every at-bat as a DH.
True.
As a DH, I think you microanalyze every at-bat because you aren't in the field. You're not able to make plays with your glove. Look, I don't want him running into walls like a linebacker on every play.
But you can't change him, though,
no,
I don't think.
But I think you can pick your spots.
Yeah.
Play deeper. He can come in. He's got sprinter speed. I mean, I don't know. Play on the warning track. For goodness sakes. Fans want to see him.
Wait a minute. He's too close to the wall then. I don't want him crashing.
Then it's only a 10-foot collision.
Oh, that's true.
At full speed.
It's not a 150-foot collision.
I don't know. I just it's too bad. He's a gifted player.
All right. I would agree. All right. So then the other concern to me would be kind of the faltering of some of their top pitchers that going into the break. Joe Ryan got bombed by Baltimore on the last game on Sunday, and our guy Sonny Gray wasn't much better a couple days before that. And those are two of your top three guys. Pablo was very good earlier in the week, but of course he was pitching against the Royals. And he's been okay. I know he got the All-Star bid because somebody dropped out. And that's great. I'm glad that I think he deserves an opportunity to be an All-Star, but Bailey Ober has pitched fairly well for the Twins as well. So the starting pitching has been in order, but I think that there should be some concern about Joe Ryan getting knocked around so much in the last couple of his outings.
Yeah, he's been roughed up a few times. He also mixed in a complete game. He's looked like Nolan Ryan on occasion. Fast start. I think he was the first pitcher to 6 or 7 wins, and then the wheels have come off a bit.
Right.
Not entirely. I think he's still very good. Sunday against Baltimore, 4 1/3. He had 10 strikeouts, only gave up 1 run. That was a home run, and then things unraveled a bit. And Rocco hooked him quickly. He didn't let him work out of the jam. I think he was at 95 pitches. I kept saying to myself, well, you got the All-Star break coming up. Let the guy go another inning or two. Give your bullpen a break, because the bullpen came in, and then it became a forest fire. I want to thank the Minnesota Twins, though. I didn't have to watch the home run derby on Monday night from Seattle. I saw it Sunday in Minneapolis. Baltimore teed off 6 times. One of them was upper deck right field. Aaron Hicks got a home run. Remember him?
Yeah.
Kyle Gibson got the win. Remember him?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I see Cole Sands he just got bombed. He was throwing BP up there.
Yeah, it was tater time.
Yeah, it was. All right. We need to take a break, but we're going to talk more Minnesota Twins baseball coming up.
Yeah, Al Newman, 2-time World Series champ, going to join us here on 10K Takes, your Twins ticket.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah. That's the one thing he couldn't do. Tony Finau, the champion at the 3M.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect. Maya? Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
$10,000 Takes rolls along. We are at the midway point, as we discussed in the first segment of the show. But we got a guy who's going to break down what needs to happen in the second half for the Twins to get back into first place and maybe into the postseason. He, of course, is Al Newman, former Twin who played and won a couple of World Series with them in 87 and 91. Al, a very disappointing end to the first half of the season for the Twins, getting swept by the Orioles. Your first half assessment, just give me some general thoughts on them, and then we'll break it down maybe position by position. But your thoughts on that first half?
Well, I think if you are someone that follows the game of baseball, you're a little bit disappointed in the performance of the ball club at this point. Especially with so many teams in our division that are unstable. We thought we had a quality rotation and a decent enough lineup that was going to score it. Unfortunately, we have not scored runs. So I guess first half disappointment would totally be on the offense. The 3-4 guys that we're definitely counting on have not produced to the standards that we thought. And therefore, we've used quite a few guys in our lineup based off of injuries and just trying to get things started.
Al, I was at a couple of the Baltimore, Minnesota games over the weekend at Target Field. On Friday, Cedric Mullins turned into Spider-Man. He took a 3-run home run away from Byron Buxton. Incredible catch. And it got me to thinking, Byron used to do that when he played center field. Are we going to see him Byron Buxton, the Gold Glover, ever play center field again?
Well, I tell you what, guys, I've told my friends that were asking me if he'd ever play again. I said if he plays 30 games in the outfield, I'd be shocked. So right now, he went through the whole first half. I don't think he touched the outfield grass. So I'm going to have to say he's going to play less than 20 games in the outfield. Unfortunately, that's a problem because, when you have a superstar player, he can't use all of his tools. It's a problem.
Another guy that has won a Gold Glove in the outfield and has been very good as an outfielder for the Minnesota Twins is Joey Gallo. However, I can't stand all the strikeouts. I don't know about you, but not just swinging, but taking called thirds. I mean, there are just way too many. As I've said before, this is Miguel Sano with a glove right now, and some speed in the outfield. It's almost to the point of ridiculous. Why don't they bring Matt Wallner up and let Joey walk or do whatever?
Well, he's one of the young guys that I'm trying to figure out why we can't keep him in the big leagues because he's totally dominating AAA baseball. It's unfortunate. I made the same thing Justin Wally. For some reason, we took Gallo over Snow, and I don't understand that both the same guy, but maybe one has a little bit of gratitude about the game of baseball, and we're suffering because we've got a guy that swings and misses, but yet we try to quantify his production when he does make contact, which is not very often. But he is a good player. They're playing him at first and in the outfield, but man, I tell you what, I think that Wallner, I think Larnack, I'd rather see the young guys. If we're going to rebuild, let's do it the right way. Let's not pretend that we're rebuilding or we're trying to win a pennant. All the other teams in our division are rebuilding, and we're going to have to face the value of that here pretty soon.
Al, when you look at the top three starters, Sonny Gray, he's going to the All-Star game. Pablo Lopez, a late addition as well. Joe Ryan may have been on an All-Star track, but he did not get chosen. He started fast. It seems like recently he's the roller coaster. Real good one day, and then he bottoms out the next. We saw it Sunday against the Orioles. Any concerns about Joe Ryan or the rest of the pitching?
Well, no, I'm not concerned. Our rotation has been stellar. I can't ask any more of Ryan over what Varland did while he was here or what Duran's doing on the backside. The rotation has upheld their standard. It's the best we've seen in a long time around here. Our struggles are on offense, and if we could give those guys some run support on a consistent basis, and I'm not talking about 3 or 4 days where everybody gets excited, just like we're talking about with Gallo. Buxton and Correa take a lot of called third strikes. Kepler's not doing what he should. And I tell you what, Vasquez is being outplayed by Jeffers, if you ask me, as far as offensive production. So those guys, Ryan, it's only his second year. We put a big weight on his shoulders to try to carry a pitching staff at a young age. Ober's done a great job. And Varland, if he's your number 5 or 6 guy, he's been outstanding. So offensively, we need to make a difference.
All right. Put your managerial hat on. I know you managed in the minors, you coached in the majors. If you had to change something offensively right now for the Twins, we're not talking pitching now, just the offensive side, what would it be?
Well, and it's hard to do this in the major leagues, but the Twins did it for years with their minor leaguers until they got to AAA, is with 2 strikes, you had to make an adjustment. You had to try to put the ball in play. It was a little more contact oriented where we could put runners in motion. We do 2 things. We don't do 2 things that are very critical to winning baseball. We don't make two strike contact, and we don't have movement on the bases to force guys to put the ball in play. So I think those are 2 dramatic changes that the Twins need to undertake. I can't stand every time I turn around, a guy hits a double. Nobody's trying to move the runner over, and it's cost us in the first half of this season.
Al, Minnesota sports teams, maybe with the exception of the Lynx, it's an epic drought. None of the male teams have even played for a title since your Twins won the World Series back in 1991. You're a 2-time World Series champ. The longer this dry spell goes on, does your legend grow even more? You have 2 rings. That's rare here in Minnesota.
You're talking about all the pats on the back that I get for being a career 30 hitter. I tell you what, I shouldn't say it doesn't bother me one bit because people understand what it took to become a champion. It was a lot of sacrifices. Some people say we had the worst championship team in 1987 because we only won 85, 87 games during the regular season. But you know what? We still have the rings because we executed the game over a longer period of time than any other team. And all I'm talking about when I watch the game, I'm watching the beauty of baseball. There's certain things that must take place to have success. Right now, this team does not have it.
All right, Al, before we let you go, I ran across a video clip the other day, an anniversary of a happening in Major League Baseball. And I think you know where I'm going with this. I believe it was 37 years ago that we saw the one and only round tripper by Al Newman against the Atlanta Braves. Do you celebrate this day each and every year in July when it comes?
No, unfortunately, Wally, I got a text message to tell me the anniversary was 37 years. So, that was not a part of my game. I'm very proud that I did hit at least one home run. But, I saw Jim Gantner about 3 weeks ago, and he was the other guy. Him and Rafael Billiard were the 2 guys that went the longest besides me. And I told him I was proud to hold that record at 2,409 at-bats in between home runs.
Well, I guess we'll never call you Shohei, will we?
Yeah, they called me a punching dude.
More like a Dwayne Kuiper.
Yes. I was a single stolen base guy. I could bunt. They used to fine me for hitting balls in the air because when you don't have power, don't pretend that you do. You'll make way more money. I got 8-year career out of it and 2 titles, so I'm more than happy.
All right, Al. Great stuff. Thanks so much for coming on, and we, of course, will be talking to you again soon.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you, guys.
He is Al Newman, the former Minnesota Twin, of course, a world champion in 87 and 91. Stay with us more here on 10,000 Takes after this time out.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
All right, so the next thing that's going to come up on the Major League Baseball schedule, now that the All-Star break is done, is going to be, you got it, trade deadline. And are your Minnesota Twins going to be buyers or sellers? And if they're sellers, who are they selling? And if they're buyers, who are they trading away?
I think they kick a few tires, float out some interest to keep the fan base placated. They receive a few texts or phone calls or do a Zoom interview or whatever it is now, however they communicate. But I think at the end of the day, they stand pat. Because in this division, the sorry, mediocre AL Central, they might 81 and 81 might crown you a champion in the Central. And if that happens, I think you might see changes down the road in Major League Baseball.
You think that might happen, huh?
Well, my theory, and it's just that, it's my hypothesis, that let's say that Cleveland or Minnesota win it with between 81 and 83 victories. That's pretty sorry, right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, you look at the AL East, the worst team, Boston, would lead the Central. Most teams in the NL West or NL East would lead the Central. Same with the AL West.
Of course.
Half of them in the NL Central. So the power brokers, like the Yankees, the Dodgers, they're going to start squawking. And they're going to say, wait a minute, we need to just have 2 leagues and we seed them. And the top 6 in each league get in. Maybe we expand to 8 playoff teams, whatever. And enough of this flyover land nonsense.
Oh, boy.
Because the Central right now, can you make a case for anyone?
All right. Are you ready? You want me to make the case? Well, you know where this is going. First of all, Cleveland was 44 and 44 at this time last year. So they're 45 and 45 this year. And they ended up winning 92. Now, they don't have as many games against the Royals and Tigers coming up in the second half as they did a year ago, so I give them that. Secondly, not trying to make a case for Cleveland, but they are a second half team. They always have been under Tito. And then my third point would be, you don't think that this is cyclical, though? I mean, we saw the Padres win their division with, 83 wins a few years ago.
I think your points are valid. I really do. But if Cleveland doesn't get on a run, and it is an 81 to 83 wins that gets you a division title, I just think there might be some complaining. And it is cyclical. I mean, the divisions change, but now you have it just seems more exaggerated than it ever has been. But I'll let the season play out, because sometimes in the second half things happen that you don't anticipate. Maybe the Twins get hot, for goodness sakes.
All right. Let's go back to my first question for you. Do you think, if they're sellers, who are they selling? And who is somebody buying? One of their pitchers?
Perhaps. But if they're selling, does that mean they're waving a white flag when you're very much in the race?
I don't know.
That's not going to play, is it?
Because I don't think anybody's buying anything other than maybe.
Do they dangle Byron Buxton?
No. Or Sonny Gray. I mean, those are the two most obvious to me, because I don't know if you're going to get much.
Max Kepler have a market?
No, unless it's in Cleveland, because he only hits against Cleveland. I mean, Kepler isn't going to fetch you much. I mean, and look, the other problem that the Twins have if they make a deal, look at the deadline deals they made last year, and they basically all come back to haunt them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're horrible. That Spencer Steer, the kid they traded to the Cincinnati Reds, he's having a breakout year, and he's a first baseman. Rumor has it the Twins could use a regular first baseman this year.
He's part of the reason why the Cincinnati Reds are one of the feel-good stories in the first half. He and Ellie De La Cruz, this unbelievably explosive player for the Reds. I don't know. The Twins are, in some ways, I feel like they're in a conundrum.
And that was the Tyler Mahle trade, and he's never going to pitch for the Minnesota Twins again. And then you look at the trade that brought Jorge Lopez to Minnesota, and they traded, what's the guy's, Cannell, right?
Yep.
The
setup guy for Baltimore.
Setup guy for Baltimore.
Felix,
and he's had a very, very
Rodriguez,
good season. And so there's another one. You gave him away for Lopez, and Jorge's been okay at times, but he went through the mental health break and was not pitching very well going into that. We'll know more as the second half unfolds, but I mean, I think you got to be careful about what you're dealing here. Maybe we don't want Falvey and Levine to make any trades.
Well,
those haven't turned out very good.
You could make a case for that, and I think they might be skittish based on past history.
Absolutely.
And they have spent some money by Twins standards. So, like I said, I'll go back to what I said originally when you asked the question. I feel like they'll stand pat. Some rumors will float around in the baseball universe that Minnesota's looking for this or that, but at the end of the day, the cost will be too prohibitive.
Yeah, I don't think they have much to sell, and I don't think they're going to get enough back, to be honest with you.
Stuck in quicksand.
Yeah. All right, one more segment to go. Stay with us. Takes of the day coming up. You won't want to miss it.
I've been meaning to give you these for many years. I think they're perfect.
Maya?
Oh, I love your earring. Why didn't you try these?
It isn't just about vision, it's about care. Nobody cares for eyes more than Pearl.
Look at this.
Look at that.
Oh, yes. That's the one thing he couldn't do. Tony Finau, the champion at the 3M.
10K Takes on television, getting set to wrap up yet another episode. But before we go, we're going to find out what your demeanor is. Angry American, grumpy guardian, or dare I say it, happy camper. What is it today?
Well, no, not this time. So as you may or may not know, July 5th, every year at Progressive Field in Cleveland, where the team formerly known as the Cleveland Indians, plays their games. They hold a celebration, Larry Doby Day. Now, Larry Doby was the first African-American player in the American League, and he followed Jackie Robinson just 11 weeks after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in all of Major League Baseball when he came into play in 1947. So this is a big deal because Larry Doby faced a lot of the same discrimination, a lot of the same hills that he had to climb, a lot of the same, issues that Jackie Robinson dealt with, name calling, all that stuff. It happened to him as well, but not as many people know about Larry Doby. So Cleveland recognizes him. The ball club recognizes him on an annual basis. Of course, they've retired his number, and he's in the Hall of Fame and all that. But they do this special day every year. And they ask your commissioner, Rob Manfred, in Major League Baseball for the last couple of years now, but even brought it out more this year, if they could wear the number 14, just Cleveland, not the opposition, not all of baseball, like Major League Baseball does for Jackie Robinson. And I applaud them for doing that. Everybody wears number 42 on April 15th. But Cleveland just wants number 14 on July 5th, on Larry Doby Day. Rob Manfred said no. So Tito Francona, the manager of Cleveland, very upset by this because he knows the Doby family. His father actually was friends with Larry Doby Sr., so he went in, they got pens, and every one of the Cleveland players and coaches, they wrote the number 14 on their ball caps that day. Good for them. Bad for Rob Manfred. Are you kidding me? Why not use this as an opportunity to raise awareness? Communication is huge. Show everybody. Education is huge. Show everybody what this guy did. Let people know what Larry Doby went through, that it wasn't just Jackie Robinson, that this thing spread throughout baseball, and that we needed somebody like Larry Doby back then. Heck, he led them to the World Series the following year. They won the World Series in 1948 with Larry Doby on the squad. But no, Rob Manfred, you should be ashamed of yourself. This was an absolute no-brainer to let these guys wear number 14. You better get it right for next year, July 5th. I want to see all of Cleveland wearing number 14. And Rob Manfred, if you don't, you should resign. You should, as I said, be ashamed of yourself.
And the mood meter says, well, no shock. Grumpy Guardian.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that needle needs to go a little bit more to the right. That's how irate you are.
I think it's spun all the way
And
around.
if you're keeping score at home, that's EC, Error Commissioner, in the box score. Yeah, he whiffed on that one.
Total.
Okay, well, my take of the day, so far this season, I've seen a few ballparks on the MLB map. Kansas City, Milwaukee, obviously Minneapolis, Anaheim, which was a lot of fun. I saw Shohei hit a home run. But then I got to go to Dodger Stadium as well in Los Angeles. Chavez Ravine, drive up the mountain to see a game in Los Angeles. And let me tell you, that is pure baseball bliss. That's where I grew up seeing a lot of ball games, along with Anaheim. And going to a Dodger game now, it's really a show. The average, well over 40,000 fans a game. They had 49K the night I was there. Dodgers against the Pirates. And it's a lot of fun. It's very chill. It's not like Boston or Philadelphia where everybody's all worked up. There's a couple of beach balls going at the same time. It's like you're at Santa Monica, but you're watching a baseball game. But it's fun, and the pedigree and the tradition at Dodger Stadium is fabulous. Third oldest ballpark now in MLB. And, I saw Clayton Kershaw in the dugout, and I thought, wow. Here he is all these decades later, right after Sandy Koufax back in the day used to pitch for the Dodgers. So if you're going out west, check out a game at Dodger Stadium. And on that note, we got to go. Let's FedEx out those thank yous. One to Rocky, Stuart Devon, Alex Yambrick, David Weld, and, of course, Al Newman. For Wally, I'm Eric saying so long. This is 10K Takes, your sports ticket.